Yehovah, open my eyes to see the glory of your Son. Strengthen my faith in his power. Prepare my heart for his path of suffering and victory. And remind me that I am your child in him. Yehovah Or Olam. Yehovah, the eternal light. Shine your eternal light upon the face of your Son, that I may behold his glory and walk in his radiance. Yehovah Or Olam. Holy, holy, holy. Please fill me and lead me and cover me and stir me and speak through me with your Ruach HaKodesh, that I may speak your written words with boldness and humility to those who listen. I ask all these things in Yeshua HaMashiach's name. Amen. We'll start with the Shema. Listen and obey. Children of Yehovah, pay careful attention and respond. Yehovah is our power and authority. Yehovah works in unity, echad, with himself, and you shall act upon your love, Yehovah. Do Yehovah with your power and authority, with your thoughts and mind, with your entire body, and with all the muchness that you have. Yeh-ho-VAH. Hand, behold, nail, behold. Matthew chapter 17. 6 days later, Yeshua, the Aleph and the Tav, took Kepha, Yaakov, and his brother Yochanan, and led them up to a high mountain privately. As they watched, he began to change form. His face shone like the sun, and his clothing became as white as light. Then they looked and saw Moshe and Eliyahu speaking with him. Kepha said to Yeshua, the Aleph and the Tav, "It's good that we're here, Master. I'll put up 3 shelters if you want. One for you, one for Moshe, and one for Eliyahu." While he was still speaking, a bright cloud enveloped them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son, whom I love, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the Talmudim disciples heard this, they were frightened that they fell down on the ground. But Yeshua, the Aleph and the Tav, came and touched them. "Get up," he said. "Don't be afraid." So they opened their eyes, looked up, and saw only Yeshua, the Aleph and the Tav, by himself. As they came down the mountain, Yeshua, the Aleph and the Tav, ordered them, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." The Talmudim disciples asked him, "Then why do the Torah teachers say that Eliyahu must come first?" He answered, "On the one hand, Eliyahu is coming and will restore all things. On the other thing, I tell you that Eliyahu has come already, and people did not recognize him, but did whatever they pleased to him. In the same way, the Son of Man too is about to suffer at their hands." Then the Talmudim disciples understood what he was talking about, understood that he was talking to them about Yochanan, the immerser. As they came up to the crowd, a man approached Yeshua, the Aleph and the Tav, kneeled down in front of him, and said, "Sir, have mercy on my son, because he is an epileptic and has such terrible fits that he often falls into the fire or into the water. I brought him to your Talmudim disciples, but they couldn't heal him." Yeshua, the Aleph and the Tav, answered, "Perverted people without any trust. How long will I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring him here to me." Yeshua, the Aleph and the Tav, rebuked the demon, and it came out of the boy, so that from that moment, he was healed. Then the Talmudim disciples went to him privately and said, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" He said to them, "Because you have such little trust. Yes, I tell you that if you have trust as tiny as a mustard seed, you will be able to say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Indeed, nothing will be impossible for you. But this kind does not go out except through prayer and fasting." As they were going about together in the Galilee, Yeshua, the Oh-LAHM, said to them, "The Son of Man is about to be betrayed into the hands of people who will put him to death, and on the third day he will be raised." And they were filled with sadness. When they came to Capharnaum, the collectors of the half shekel came to Kepha and said, "Doesn't your rabbi pay the temple tax?" "Of course he does," said Kepha. When they arrived home, Yeshua, the Oh-LAHM, spoke first. "Shimon, what's your opinion? The kings of the earth, from whom do they collect duty and taxes? From their sons or from others?" "From others," he answered. Then said Yeshua, the Oh-LAHM, "The sons are exempt, but to avoid offending them, go to the lake, throw out a line, and take the first fish you catch. Open its mouth, and you will find a shekel. Take it and give it to them for me and for you." What is the Hebrew word that encapsulates this chapter? Tee-feh-RET. The harmony of majesty, beauty, and divine revelation. Matthew 17 is pure Tiferet, the revealing of Yeshua's heavenly majesty, the confrontation of weak faith, the foretelling of his destiny, and the revelation of kingdom sonship. The core flow of the chapter, Tiferet reveals Yeshua's glory, refines the disciples' faith, confirms his destiny, and teaches the freedom of sonship. How can we love Yehovah with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength? We can love Yehovah by beholding the glory of his Son and listening to him alone. Love Yehovah by exercising mustard seed faith that acts, trusts, and obeys. Love Yehovah by aligning my life with Yeshua's destiny rather than resisting it. How can we love our neighbors as we love ourselves and as Yeshua loves us? By walking patiently with those whose faith falters and strengthening them gently. By revealing Yeshua's glory through compassion, prayer, and steadfast hope. By modeling sonship, humble, free, and unafraid to yield for the sake of witness. How can we bear one another's burdens? By helping others rise when their faith is weak and they cannot stand alone. By praying for deliverance where oppression is heavy and unseen. By walking with others into the freedom of knowing they are Yehovah's children. What are the top 3 fruits of the Spirit found? 1. Faith, emunah. Trust that moves mountains and casts out darkness. 2. Glory, Tiferet. The heart awakened by the radiance of Messiah. 3. Humility, anavah. Sonship expressed through gentle willingness to yield. The 4 kingdom movements of Matthew 17. 1. The Transfiguration, revelation of glory. Yeshua shines like the sun. Moses and Elisha appears, and Yehovah declares, "This is my son. Listen to him." This is Sinai renewed. 2. The boy delivered, the test of faith. The disciples fail because they rely on effort rather than emunah. Yeshua restores the boy and teaches trust that acts. 3. The second prophecy. Yeshua's destiny revealed. He will be betrayed, killed, and raised on the third day. The path of the glory moves through suffering. 4. The temple tax. Sonship revealed. The sons are free, yet Yeshua pays, not from obligation, but from humility and wisdom. Provision comes through a miracle in the mouth of a fish. What is the mitzvah response, Torah-based? Command. Hear his voice. Deuteronomy 18, verse 15. Fulfillment note. The Transfiguration confirms Yeshua as the prophet like Moses. To obey Torah is to listen to him, his glory, his warnings, his call, and his path. Finding Yeshua in the chapter connection, he shines with the glory of Yehovah on the mountain. He stands with Moses and Elijah as the fulfillment of Torah and prophets. He casts out unclean spirits where human effort failed. He reveals his coming suffering, death, and resurrection. He teaches that the sons of the king are free. He provides supernaturally for humble obedience. He embodies Tiferet, divine radiance in human form. What is the Hebrew declaration? Yeh-ho-VAH Tiferet ha-Mashiach U-VAH ki van la melech, beholding the glory of the Messiah and trusting as a son of the King. One sentence summary: Yeshua reveals his glory, strengthens faith, confirms destiny, and teaches sonship. Let his glory steady you. Let his voice guide you. Let his cross define you. Let his sonship free you. Here are the heart-piercing questions. Yeshua is transfigured in glory before his disciples. The Father's voice thunders, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." And yet they still stumble in fear and unbelief. What in your life proves that you enjoy glimpses of his glory, but still resist actually listening and obeying his voice when it costs you? Another, glory on the mountain versus obedience in the valley. Peter wanted to camp on the mountain, build shelters, when he saw Yeshua in glory with Moshe and Eliyahu. But Yeshua led them back down into the valley of suffering and need. Where are you trying to freeze a spiritual high instead of following him back into the messy places where people actually need deliverance? Another, listening versus talking over him. On the mountain, Peter was still talking when the bright cloud overshadowed them, and the Father said, "Listen to him." How often does your life show that you are talking about Yeshua, working for Yeshua, and explaining Yeshua, while rarely getting quiet enough to actually listen and change because of what he says? Another, fear of his presence versus rest in his touch. When the disciples heard the voice from the cloud, they fell on their faces terrified, and Yeshua touched them and said, "Do not be afraid." When Yehovah's presence exposes your smallness and sin, do you stay in paralyzing fear, or let Yeshua's hand lift you into surrender, peaceful obedience? Another, unbelief in the face of tormented generation. At the foot of the mountain, a desperate father brings his tormented son, and the disciples cannot cast out the demon. Yeshua calls it a faithless and twisted generation. When you face deep brokenness and bondage around you, does your response reveal a heart trained in faith and prayer, or a quiet agreement with powerlessness? Another, mustard seed faith versus the habit of doubt. Yeshua says that even mustard seed faith can move mountains, and that this kind of oppression only goes out by prayer and fasting. If we examined your secret life, would we find a pattern of prayer and fasting that matches your language about believing for breakthrough, or mostly a habit of doubt dressed in religious words? Another, hearing the cross and responding with grief or surrender. Yeshua again tells his disciples he will be betrayed, killed, and raised on the third day, and they are filled with grief. When the path of obedience to him clearly involves loss, discomfort, or misunderstanding, do you respond with surrendered trust or quiet resentment and self-pity? Another, sons are free, yet choosing not to stumble others. In the temple tax conversation, Yeshua teaches that the sons are free, yet he still provides the coin in the fish's mouth so that they don't cause offense. Does your use of spiritual freedom tend to push boundaries to prove a point, or to willingly limit yourself in love so that others are helped, not stumbled? Lastly, living like a son, not a religious payer of dues. If Yeshua has made you a son in the kingdom, not a mere taxpayer in a religious system, does your day-to-day walk look like a secure child joyfully trusting the Father's provision and authority, or like a religious worker constantly trying to stay current on spiritual dues and appearances? We'll end with the Arianic blessing using the name. Yehovah will kneel before you presenting gifts, and he will guard you with a hedge of protection. Yehovah will illuminate the wholeness of his being toward your bringing order, and he'll provide you with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yehovah will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon you and set in place all you need to be whole and complete. Shalom, shalom.